Every man says he wants a beautiful woman, right? But here's the truth nobody talks about. Beauty ruins most women's ability to keep a man long term. Yeah, I said it. And listen, it's not her looks that's doing the damage. It's the lies she's been told her entire life, mostly by men. And that's what we're going to get into today, my friends, because this is going to be one that a lot of beautiful women will reject because you don't know what you don't know. And this came up because I had a conversation this morning in the gym with a lady. What I'm trying to do over here in Dubai is to start live shows helping women on relationships and trying to help women date in Dubai. So what I'm trying to do is to try to get in with some of these single female groups, these dating groups and biking groups, etc., and just go in and have a 30-minute chat with women and just give them some reality. And the first thing she says is, because she knows my content, but I don't know if these women will be able to handle how you do your presentation to women. And I said, I know how to change my speech when I'm talking to women. And then I said, this is one of the reasons why a lot of you women will never understand men is because you don't know how men speak. You're not interested in listening to how men speak and men's opinions. That's why you're all failing at relationships. She, by the way, is in her late 30s and she is single. And she's gorgeous. She's a gorgeous bloody woman, but single, having a hard time digesting relationships here in Dubai. And I said, one of the major reasons with women is that they have no idea how to even communicate properly with men, and they don't want to hear the truth. And that is what is creating such a massive divide between the genders. Men are constantly looking for beautiful women so that they could lie to them. And women don't want to hear the truth. And that is why men lie to women and women wear makeup. So there you go, my friends. So like this video on the way in, we're going to take some cues and we're going to listen to this very interesting breakdown from this channel called Psych Depth. And it's this video that's why are attractive women mentally ill? Whew, that is a harsh statement, but he has a point. Of course, I'm not going to play the whole video, and I will link this video in the description and at the top of the comment section. So let's get into it, my friends.
She's brilliant at work. Harvard MBA, flawless presentations, strategic recommendations that save companies millions. But when she suggests the team celebrate at an expensive restaurant she expects the company to fund, everyone exchanges glances. When she mentions that men should always pay because that's what gentlemen do, eyebrows raise. When she's genuinely confused why her last 3 relationships ended despite being obviously perfect, the cognitive dissonance becomes undeniable. You've seen this woman everywhere, the stunning colleague who analyzes complex data but can't understand why men won't commit. The gorgeous friend with a psychology PhD who believes her looks exempt her from developing relationship skills. Today, I'm going to shatter every assumption you have about beauty, intelligence, and how attractiveness warps reality. Because what I'm about to reveal will explain the most confusing phenomenon in modern dating, why the most beautiful women often make the most catastrophically stupid decisions about love, relationships, and basic human nature. Here's the simple explanation that unlocks everything. Beautiful women are relationship stupid because no one has ever told them the truth about anything that matters. Not occasionally, not sometimes, never.
And that's a powerful opening, but I heard no lies. The reality of it is that women are lied to in order for men to get what they want, and that is access to her body. All men are attracted to beautiful women, regardless of what age they are. So literally, from adolescent, beautiful women are put in a bubble where men never tell them the truth because men are constantly catering to their beauty. And he knows that a lie to any of these women will diminish his chances of getting to her. That's the reality. But it goes a little bit more complex than that. Let's get into it.
For 20, 30, even 40 years of life, they've existed in a reality where truth went extinct the moment they became attractive. Think about the economics of this extinction. When a woman possesses something that men desperately want, her beauty, her attention, her body, those men will say absolutely anything they believe will increase their chances of getting it. Truth becomes not just irrelevant, but actively counterproductive. Strategic communication becomes the only currency that spends. This isn't some men lying to some women sometimes. This is a systematic extinction of truth that begins the moment she develops curves and continues until the day she dies. Every conversation becomes contaminated by agenda. Every piece of feedback gets filtered through desire. Every opinion gets modified by hope. The beautiful woman becomes the victim of the greatest fraud ever perpetrated. An entire civilization conspiring to convince her that the world works in ways that it absolutely does not. She's been living in a parallel universe where cause and effect operate according to completely different rules than the reality everyone else inhabits. But here's what makes this tragedy complete. She has no idea any of this is happening. The lies are so consistent, so universal, so seemingly genuine that she accepts them as objective truth. She builds her entire worldview, her relationship strategies, her understanding of men and human nature on a foundation of systematic deception, designed to serve other people's sexual interests rather than help her navigate reality. She becomes what I call a master of self-destruction.
And so, gentlemen, this is what you're seeing played out throughout the entire female atmosphere.
How y'all be hanging out with ugly people? Like, how y'all be okay with having ugly friends? Because I'm no ugly ass homegirl. Ain't never in my life had no ugly ass bitch as my friend. I don't see how y'all do it. But I ain't
talking about the next girl and trying to shit on the next person. It don't turn your swag on how y'all think it do. Like, I feel like people don't realize this. When you're constantly trying to talk down on other girls, constantly talking shit, constantly trying to pop it, knocking down the next woman will not make you look better, and it won't make you feel better, and it won't make you better in reality.
Because every woman thinks that she's freaking gorgeous. Every one of them. And they want society to lie to them. This is where the 200-pounder, the 400-pounder, the 600-pounder, and the 130-pound woman all think that they deserve the top man. And if you call her anything that destroys her warped perception of herself, you are the misogynist. You are the disgusting male. You are the hater of the female race. Because every woman thinks that she is a 10. Do you understand where this is coming from? Because, listen, gentlemen, it's not rocket science. All ugly women know that men lie to beautiful women. Every single ugly woman know that they get treated differently. Every single one of them. Because they know that when she's hanging out with her beautiful friends, the results that those beautiful women get are significantly different from the results she gets. The opportunities to go on the boat, the opportunities to go to dinners. And she sees what these men are telling these beautiful women. She wants to be told the same thing. Lie to me as well. And if you're not lying to me, that means I'm ugly. And there's no way I'm ugly. So the problem is, in today's modern society, it goes way beyond beautiful women. The old days, ugly women knew their position and they dealt with it. It was simple. But in today's environment, nope, lie to me as well.
Someone who systematically creates the opposite of what she wants because she's operating with completely false information about how relationships actually work. Let me take you back to the moment this disaster begins. She's 13, maybe 14 years old. Yesterday she was invisible, just another awkward teenager trying to figure out math homework and social hierarchies. Then puberty hits like a nuclear explosion, and everything changes overnight. Suddenly men of all ages are staring at her, not just boys her age, grown men, teachers, fathers of her friends, strangers on the street. She's acquired massive power that she doesn't understand, can't control, and definitely isn't emotionally equipped to handle. It's terrifying, scary, exciting, and confusing all at the same time. Here's the crucial detail everyone misses. She's still emotionally and psychologically a child, but she's been handed adult-level power over adult men's behavior. Her actual age says 14, but her emotional maturity is still developing like any other teenager's, except now she's wielding influence that would challenge a fully mature woman. From that moment forward, she will never hear the truth from men again. Every interaction becomes a negotiation where honesty is the losing strategy and strategic agreement is the winning play. The moment she becomes beautiful is the moment truth dies in her world.
And here's the problem that these young women will encounter in today's environment. And listen, I got 2 young teenagers. I can tell you exactly what he says has occurred with my daughters. They now know that they are freaking gorgeous. The looks that they get when they go through the mall, the attention that there's boys that are constantly running up to them and asking them, can I have your Snapchat? Can I have your Snapchat? And my daughters just have no clue how to handle this because they've never been here before. The other day, my wife was telling me when they were in the mall, because I hate going to the mall with them. So one little guy ran up to my daughter, to my this is my 16-year-old, and said, hey, my friend wants your Snapchat. And my daughter's just blushing and almost in fear in her eyes, apparently. And apparently this was the guy that was brave enough, because he has nothing to lose. He's not the one that want the number, right? But he has the skills to come up to her and ask her for her Snapchat. They don't ask for phone numbers anymore. It's all about Snapchat, you know? And my wife is just looking around going, holy shit, what's happening here? And he points to this little dude in the corner, this little guy in the corner. He's too shy to even look at her, right? So so apparently my daughter's going, I don't know, mommy, what do I do? What do I do? Because she can't even see the guy's face properly. She said, I don't know who he is. So anyway, she ended up just giving it to him because she said, you know what, I could easily block him if he becomes rude or unbearable or whatever. My wife said my daughter was blushing for the rest of the trip. She's like, why would he do that? Why would he come up to me like that? But the reality of it is the second puberty hits, man, we're no different than animals. Women send out those pheromones. It's in the air. The fertility of a young woman is broadcasted out, radiates out. And it's scary for a young girl who hasn't matured yet. And because we're such a massive global society where we can go into a mall and thousands, tens of thousands of people you're encountering at one time, it's there. They can almost literally smell it in the air, right? Back in the day, we lived in villages. The only people that you were exposed to was the 5 or 6 individuals that you saw on a daily basis. People were spread out. Things were different back then. But in today's environment, a young girl can walk out into the mall. Men literally can't take their eyes off of her. That's just the reality of who we are as a species. That is our biology in motion. We can't control our attraction. We can control our actions, but we cannot control our attraction. Just remember that. People who are broken and who have something switched off, those are the ones that cannot control their actions. But 99.999% of men will not react to that situation because we have laws in place that will punish men that do that.
The men around her aren't evil. They're rational. They quickly discover that telling her what she wants to hear gets them positive responses, attention, maybe even physical rewards. Telling her what she needs to hear gets them eliminated from her social circle. The incentive structure is crystal clear, and rational actors respond accordingly. Let me explain the brutal mathematics that creates this disaster. Being honest with beautiful women doesn't get you sex. Being dishonest often does. This creates what I call the honesty-sex contradiction, a situation where the very thing she needs most, honest feedback, is the very thing men are least incentivized to provide. Think of it like a classroom where the teacher asks open-ended questions but attacks any student who doesn't give the answer she already decided she wanted to hear. What do you think about my new approach? Seems like a request for honest opinion, but it's actually a test with only one acceptable response. The student who gives the wrong, honest answer gets destroyed. The student who gives the right strategic answer gets praised. Beautiful women create exactly this dynamic in every relationship. They ask for feedback, but respond negatively to feedback that challenges their assumptions. They claim to value authenticity, but reward validation instead. They say they want genuine opinions, but punish anyone who provides them. The mathematical probability that any honest answer will accidentally align with what she wants to hear is basically zero. maybe 1 in 20 on the best possible day. The probability that strategic agreement will produce positive outcomes approaches complete certainty. Men aren't stupid. They optimize for results rather than principles. But here's where the contradiction becomes catastrophic. While these lies protect men from short-term rejection, they create long-term disasters for the women receiving them. She makes relationship decisions based on false information, gets terrible results, and receives more lies to explain why the false information didn't work.
Yes, and this is why women suffer from so much trauma. Because a lot of men in the early days, bad boys, so to speak, that she's attracted to because these men tell her what she wants to hear.
If you're a really attractive woman, there's this period of time, especially from the time of, say, 18 to 28, where you can say something crazy and dudes are like, God, I really want to so I'm just going to listen to this nonsense and not say anything. I'm not going to comment on your ridiculous Instagram post, or I'm not going to say this to your face because I'm trying to smash. It's like the emperor has no clothes and nobody wants to tell him this. And you get to this point where, and I've had several women come to this realization, but the problem is, when do they come to this realization? Myron Gaines has this really great quote. He goes, women do not truly begin to grow until men stop buying them drinks.
Good guys don't do that. The good, honest guys are the safe bet, but they don't make her feel good. It's the dark traits that these men have, the ability to lie blatantly in her face and confidently. That's what wrecks these women, because these men make her feel good. Yeah, baby, you're gorgeous. Yeah, but you know what? I got this, I got that, I got this. I'm going to take you here. I'm going to do this for you. Oh my God, you would do that for me. Pure bullshit. Then the disappointment, the back and forth, and the narcissistic behavior that these men exhibit when she's young puts her through a shitload of trauma.
The cycle perpetuates until her understanding of basic human dynamics becomes completely divorced from reality. Women only reward truth that matches what they already wanted to hear. All other truth, no matter how accurate or helpful, gets punished. This creates a selection pressure where only strategic lies survive in her information ecosystem. Only a tiny fraction of men will consistently tell beautiful women the truth, and they fall into very specific categories that reveal exactly why honesty is so extinct in these dynamics. First, men with extraordinary dedication to honesty. Those unusual individuals who put principles ahead of personal gain. These men will tell the truth regardless of consequences, because their self-respect depends on integrity rather than outcomes. They represent maybe 2% of the male population, and they often pay severe social costs for their commitment to reality. Second, men on the autism spectrum for whom social consequences matter less than accuracy. They struggle to understand why they should modify truth to manage someone else's emotions, so they deliver unfiltered feedback because strategic dishonesty literally doesn't compute in their neural wiring. The concept of lying to avoid hurt feelings makes no sense to them. Third, family men, fathers and brothers who aren't trying to sleep with her and have genuine long-term investment in her welfare rather than short-term access to her body. These men can absorb the emotional consequences of her displeasure because their relationship doesn't depend on maintaining her sexual approval.
Yes, that's why it's essential to have daddy in the life. A good uncle, cousins, brothers. That's why it's essential to have a good mentor, older men who have no interest in her body. So you understand now, gentlemen and ladies, why we have a problem in today's environment. Most girls grew up without a dad, no one to keep them grounded. I keep my daughters grounded every day. No, you're not that special. Nope, you're not. Men will lie to you. They constantly lie to you. That's their job. They want you. They want their body. You got to know how to decipher the difference between good men and bad men. Most good men will tell you the truth. Most bad men will make you feel good. You got to understand the difference.
Notice what all these categories have in common. They're either immune to her beauty's power or have compelling reasons to prioritize her long-term success over their short-term comfort. Everyone else, the overwhelming majority of men she encounters, has powerful incentives to lie rather than tell the truth. The result is that she lives in an information desert where truth is rarer than water in the Sahara, and she's dying of deception poisoning without even knowing she's thirsty. Imagine working for a boss with a fragile ego who becomes hostile when challenged. attacks employees who disagree with her ideas, and has the power to fire anyone who threatens her self-image. This boss asks for your honest opinion about her terrible strategies, but you know from watching other employees that honesty leads to career suicide. Would you tell this boss when her ideas are catastrophic? Would you point out her mistakes? Would you offer constructive criticism that could improve outcomes but might trigger her wrath? Or would you smile, nod, and say, "Boss, that's a brilliant strategy," while quietly doing damage control behind the scenes? Most rational employees would choose survival over honesty. They'd praise bad ideas publicly while working to minimize their damage privately. They'd agree with flawed logic while finding ways to work around it later. They'd become strategic yes people because the risk-reward calculation makes honesty economically suicidal. Beautiful women often create identical dynamics in their relationships. Men quickly learn that disagreeing leads to emotional explosions, challenging her leads to accusations of being unsupportive, and providing honest feedback leads to relationship termination. Meanwhile, agreement leads to continued access. Validation leads to positive responses, and strategic affirmation might lead to sexual rewards. The rational male response becomes, say whatever I have to say to keep my position and avoid getting fired, rather than help her understand reality, even if it costs me everything. They're not trying to deceive her maliciously. They're trying to survive in a system where truth is punished and lies are rewarded.
Yeah, and this is what happens to a lot of men in marriages where they become the yes man. This is it. Because eventually the woman knows that there's something significantly wrong, especially as she gets older. There's something not right about the way my man is handling things, and he don't seem to have much control over the situation. I tend to be leading everything because he's constantly telling me I'm right. I don't do that in my relationship. My wife gets the cold, hard, blunt truth. Whether it brings her to tears or not, that's irrelevant. I don't care because I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm confident in my leadership. My wife knows that it's in her best interest to adhere to her husband's leads. Simple. So my friend, listen, I want you guys to go over there and watch the rest of this video. I'll put the link here, of course. So ladies, you have to understand why you never see the true essence of a man, because most men are lying to you. And the problem now that we have in today's society, it's not because all of you are beautiful. It's because none of you want to deal with reality. And it's a sorrowful thing to see because now it's created a massive divide between males and females. Women never get to really understand men. Men understand female and how messed up the whole society has groomed you to think that you're all tens. And it's just shameful to watch. So my friends, listen, like this video on the way out, please subscribe if you haven't already. Let's have a conversation in the comment section. Let me know what you think of this video, because this has a lot more little nuances about male and female dynamics. But I'd love to know your guys' experience. Okay? So until tomorrow, my friends, remember, whenever in doubt, always, always ask an older man. I'll see you soon. Cheers.